I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous question, right? Something straight out of a horror movie. But for one guy, this nightmare actually became his reality.
So picture this. It's May 2017. A man in California decides to go to the movies, have a fun night out. He gets some nachos, a total classic. A few weeks go by and he's dead. The culprit? A poison that was totally tasteless and odorless, just lurking in that cheese sauce. His story is just the starting point for our deep dive into the deadliest substances on Earth.
So let's kick off our countdown with poisons that are, well, pretty much hiding in plain sight. These are the kinds of toxins you might actually find in your own home, or maybe even on your dinner plate.
Starting us off at number 10 is lead. Now, you might think of lead as a problem from the past, but the World Health Organization figures that lead paint is still responsible for almost 500,000 deaths every single year. There was this heartbreaking case back in 2017 where a baby in Connecticut died just from chewing on a bracelet that had lead beads. It's just a tragic example of a silent killer that often targets the most vulnerable among us.
All right, next up, we've got a poison that people actually pay good money to eat. I'm talking about fugu, or pufferfish. It's a huge delicacy in Japan, but it's also loaded with a deadly neurotoxin. If the chef's knife slips by even a little bit, that expensive dinner could be your last. It leads to paralysis and a slow, terrifying death from suffocation.
The stakes for eating this fish are just incredibly high. I mean, look at this. Only chefs with a special license are even allowed to prepare fugu. And even with all that training, the fatality rate is still almost 7%. And the scariest part? There is no antidote. If you get poisoned, all the doctors can really do is try to keep you alive and just hope for the best.
Okay, now we're moving into the real legends of the poison world. These are the substances that have been making a name for themselves for centuries, used to kill, sometimes to cure, and believe it or not, even to make people look beautiful.
Coming in at number 8 is arsenic, often called the king of poisons. Back in the Victorian era, it was actually a popular cosmetic. Women used it to get that pale, fashionable look. But it was also the go-to weapon for murderers, a silent, deadly powder you could just slip into a cup of tea without leaving a trace.
At number 7, we have strychnine, and honestly, it's hard to imagine a worse way to go. You find it in pesticides and, unfortunately, sometimes lacing street drugs. Just minutes after you ingest it, it triggers these violent muscle spasms that are so powerful they can actually break your bones. And the victim is completely conscious through the whole agonizing ordeal until their respiratory system just gives out. Now, strychnine is just as deadly as our next poison, cyanide. But cyanide is the one that gets all the screen time in movies and books. And for good reason, it's incredibly fast. There was this one famous case where a Wall Street banker actually swallowed a cyanide pill right in the middle of a court hearing and was dead in less than a minute.
All right, we're entering a whole new level of horror now. These are the poisons that humans have deliberately weaponized, turning them into instruments of war and terror.
Number 5 is sarin. This is a nerve agent that actually started out as a pesticide. It is so deadly that a single drop of it on your skin can kill you. After you're exposed, your body just goes into overdrive. You start convulsing, you can't breathe, and in less than 10 minutes, you're dead.
And just to give you some perspective on how potent sarin is, it's 26 times more deadly than cyanide. A single drop. That's all it takes to kill a grown man. It's a truly terrifying weapon.
At number 4, we've got ricin, a poison that's, believe it or not, surprisingly easy to make. It comes from the common castor bean, and it is so lethal that a tiny speck of it, smaller than a grain of salt, can kill you. It's been used in several assassination attempts, including one that actually targeted the President of the United States.
So, we've seen what man can do. Now let's move on to the deadliest poisons found in the natural world. These are the toxins that have been perfected by millions of years of evolution to be the absolute ultimate weapons of survival.
Number 3 is mercury, a substance that's basically all around us. Back in 1996, a brilliant scientist was working with a really dangerous form of mercury when she spilled just a few drops on her gloved hand. She didn't think much of it at the time, but the poison seeped right through her glove and into her skin. Months later, she was dead. As the mercury just ravaged her nervous system, she started having these violent seizures. Her friend, horrified, asked the doctor if she was in pain, and the doctor's reply was just chilling. Her brain was so damaged, it couldn't even register the signals of pain anymore. At number 2, we have the golden poison frog.
This creature is so beautiful and so deadly, it's almost hard to believe it's real. Its skin is coated in a poison so potent that a single milligram, that's a tiny amount, can kill 20 people. Indigenous tribes in Colombia actually use it to tip their hunting darts. One touch from a poison dart and a bird will literally just fall out of the sky, dead before it even hits the ground.
Wow. We have seen poisons that kill in minutes and poisons that kill over months. We've seen poisons made by man and poisons made by nature. But now, we've reached the end of our list. It's time to reveal the #1 deadliest substance on Earth.
And the deadliest substance on the planet is botulinum toxin. You might know it by its much more glamorous name, Botox. That's right, in tiny controlled doses, it blocks nerve signals to paralyze facial muscles and smooth out wrinkles. But in its pure form, it is a terrifying killer. It paralyzes your entire body, from your face all the way down to your lungs, until you just can't breathe anymore. To give you an idea of how insanely deadly this stuff is, it is 40 million times more potent than cyanide. A dose the size of a grain of salt could kill 1,000 people. A single gram could wipe out an entire major city. It is, by a huge margin, the most toxic substance known to science.
And this brings us right back to where we started. Remember the man who died after eating those nachos at the movies? He was a victim of botulinum toxin. It's completely odorless, tasteless, and invisible. It is the ultimate silent killer, and it can hide in the most ordinary places.
So, what's the takeaway here? I guess it's that danger can be found in some true and unexpected places. That a single substance can be both a cosmetic and a killer. And that sometimes the most beautiful things in nature are also the deadliest. After hearing about all these terrifying poisons, I have to ask you, which one of these seems the worst to you?